Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode from the Avalonia UI series. In this video we'll see how to add modern and animated charts to our applications, and we'll do it by using Live Charts 2 because that's the new version. Live Charts is a data visualization library for .NET that can run across multiple devices and framework. This includes Avalonia, MAUI, Xamarin, and so on. It offers a wide range of charts like basic lines, bars, racing bars, pie charts, candlesticks, polar charts, and also world maps. And most of them are animated, interactable, and completely customizable. The documentation is full of instructions and examples. You just need to navigate to the official website, click on the chart you're interested in to access a quick example of how to set up the code and the view. For the most adventurous of you, there is an example app made by the author of the library, which can be found directly inside the main repo. To start using the library, you just need to add the Live Charts core nugget to your project, pick an example from the documentation page, and go wild. Only remember to enable pre-release nuggets, otherwise you won't find the package. For this episode, I made a tiny application to showcase a couple of charts. And as always, all the code that you see here can be found on the channel repo. And if you have any questions, leave a comment under the video and I'll do my best to reply. So let's open the solution and look at some code. For this episode, I created a dedicated page, a charts page view, which starts with a scroll viewer to accommodate longer content, and inside it you can find a grid with a title and a series of charts. Something you might notice is that the preview is not showing any charts. I'm not really sure whether I did something wrong or if it's the library itself, but for now, if you have the same issue, the only way to check the progress is to run the application. Let me know in the comments if you managed to make it work. So in this example, we have a main view model, which is called Charts Page View Model, and it contains a set of child models, each one dedicated to a specific chart, just so we don't mess with the properties shared among the charts. Alright, so the first chart is a basic lines one, which shows some fake weather forecasts from the past days. Once you include the Live Charts namespace, just add a Cartesian chart and set the series property. Optionally, you can also set a title and customize the axis. Now let's go to the specific chart view model. And here is a weather forecast structure, which is used to create some fake data to be shown inside the chart. Each forecast is composed by a date and a temperature. Then inside the actual view model, we have a title property that we can customize as we wish. We can set the text, the size, the padding, the color. Then we have a series property. A series is the main functionality of all the charts. You can see that we are returning a generic iSeries interface, but then we are instantiating a concrete line series. This is the actual discriminator that differentiates one chart from another. And inside the line series, we are setting the values, taking them from the test data of the weather forecast. And given that we are passing a more or less complex structure, we need to tell the chart how to display the data. And we can do it by setting the mapping property with a function that takes each sample and returns a coordinate with the day on the x-axis and the temperature on the y-axis. That's all. Finally, we've got the x-axis property that we customize because we don't want to see the decimals number. And we can do it by assigning the minimal step to 1. Okay, next one is the racing bars chart. In this case, we bind again the series property, we set the x-axis and the y-axis. Let's jump inside the specific view model and let's see what's going on. So the data structure we are using in this case is a pilot info, which inherits from the observable value. That's because we want to be notified every time the actual value changes. The other properties are a name, the name of the pilot, and a color. In this case, each pilot info will be assigned to a racing bar. Inside the view model, we have a bunch of fields, like a random generator, the actual pilot info array. We customize the x-axis by setting some separators, and we hide the y-axis. Then inside the constructor, we generate some random colors. We generate some fake data with all the pilots. We assign a name, a starting value, and a color. Then we define our series. In this case, we use a row series instead of a line series, where we assign the values, which are the pilots ordered by their value. Then we set a bunch of properties like the label paint, the label position, the label format, and so on. Then I don't know the details, but to set the color of each bar, you need to use this onPointMeasured. We assign our series, and then we use this utility method to start the race. This is the actual method that makes the bars raising, and it's made by a while loop that on each iteration increments every pilot's value of a random number, reassigns the pilots ordered by their value, their new value in this case, waits a bit, and then starts again. At the end, don't forget to stop the race, the while loop in this case, because otherwise you may get an exception. Alright, the third one is a world heat map, one of my favorites. In this case, we need to use a geomap instead of a Cartesian chart, and we need to bind, as usual, the series, plus we need to define the type of map we want to display. That's it on what concerns the view. Let's dig into the view model. We can see a random field. Then inside the constructor, we'll build some fake data, which represents our countries. Each one has a name and a value. The color on the map will depend on the value. We assign the lands inside this heatland series, which implements the iSeries interface. Then we fire some random changes. Inside the method, we can see that there's always a while loop, and on each iteration, we loop through the countries and assign a new random value, wait a bit, and then start again. Last but not least, we have a live chart. A live chart is basically a line chart, which is very responsive and can be used to track continuously changing values. In this case, we need to bind a sync context together with the usual series and the x-axis. Let's give a look to the specific view model. Like before, we have a random generator, a list of values that we want to plot on the chart, and a datum axis that we are going to use to customize the x-axis. Inside the constructor, we set the series to an observable collection because we want the UI to monitor any change that we do to the values, and we want the changes to be applied real time. The collection will contain a line series, only one, because we have only one line. We assign the values and we leave the rest unchanged. We customize the x-axis by using some custom separators, assign a color, and assign the datetime axis to the x-axis. Then we start plotting the data. To plot the data, we use the start_read_data, which, you can guess it, has another while loop, and on each iteration, we add a new datetime point, which contains the current time, plus a random value between 0 and 10. We make sure we don't have more than 50 elements on the chart by removing the last one. You can set this number as you prefer, recalculate the separators, and start again. And that's pretty much it for this video. As usual, you can find the source code on GitHub, and if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.